What's going on, family and friends, and welcome to another episode of Inside the Music, the truth about the truth, brought to you by Three Pharaohs Productions and MovemRadio.com and Movem Radio TV. We are welcoming you to join us for this episode right here with HARFEZ Coffey Young, right here on Inside the Music on MovemRadio.com. Welcome back. Welcome back. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy new season from all of us right here at MovemRadio.com. Inside the Music, the truth about the truth. Once again, brought to you by Three Pharaohs Productions, MovemRadio.com, and Movem Radio TV. And welcome to the first episode of our new season. What's the season 3? Yeah. Throw your threes up. I am your big homie, TC Caldwell, BKA Stormy Weathers, the beast from the east, rolling down 95 south from the NYC to the PHI. Y'all know the rest. Hip Hop Plaza right here with the two kings, the best in the West, rolling up and down the Las Vegas Strip. King DC Don DaCosta, King KC Cousin, and the man with the plan, the king of Movem Radio, K9, the great. And ladies and gentlemen, to start off the new year, we would like to welcome our first guest for the new season, vocalist, songwriter, producer, percussionist. This man is an all-around great talent with so many credits to his name. It's ridiculous, but y'all are going to love this interview right here. We would like you to welcome the one and the only HARFEZ Coffey Young. What's going on, gentlemen? What's going on, sir?
Hello, how are you? All right.
Welcome. As usual here at Movem Radio and Inside the Music, we always started off with the older kings, my mentors, giving off that good energy because I know y'all got a lot to talk about. So I'm going to just sit back and take it in until it's time for me to jump in here. Go ahead, KC. Kick it off, good brother.
So what's happening, man? Happy New Year to everybody. Yo, coffee.
Glad to be here. Glad to be here. Glad to be here. How you doing?
Man, I'm blessed. I was sitting down, I was looking at a music project credits list.
Yeah.
Man,
and it's more. I got new people too, man. That's the old list. It's a fantastic. I enjoy every minute.
So Coffee, where you at, man?
I'm out in outside of Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay. Where you from?
I'm from New York City, born and raised.
Tell them where in New York City you from.
Okay, Harlem, New York, by way of...
No, back it up. Back it up. You got the wrong Harlem. Take it downtown. You in Spanish Harlem. Don't go uptown.
No, I wasn't.
Bring it down.
Hey, I told you, my grandparents in Spanish Harlem. I used to hang out there too. But actually, St. Nicholas Avenue, 127th Street. Moved from there, from a baby, all the way up to the Bronx. So, family was always involved in things and music. And my second home was the Apollo Theater. So that's where the birth of music came from. As a young man, young kid, yeah. Always been there on the weekends, you know.
So what did you start out on an instrument, or did you start out writing poetry? What, you a songwriter? Where did you start out at?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you a story how I got started with this. I was in seventh, eighth grade, and I really was a shy guy. I didn't know how to talk to girls, and I was like, they was always coming up to me and stuff. So I was like, I didn't know how to talk to them. Really, I was shy, very shy, but because I was always a listener, I wasn't a talker. Even when I was a child, I used to listen to all the grown-ups talk, and I absorbed some information about life, so to speak. I didn't know that's what I was doing, but that's what was happening. So I had a friend of mine. He said, "Man, I'm gonna teach you how to do this thing." So he used to write he used to write down words for me to memorize so I could talk to the girls with. And he started writing them down, and I memorized some things and, started saying little words and things. So one day, some of this stuff just came out of me. It's like I started writing some thoughts, and I ended up writing a song called "She's Gone," and I was I guess because of a relationship I thought I was going to have. So the Q-tip, that's how it all started on that part. The other part, the musical side, was my uncle, Reuben Phillips, was the band leader. He was the band leader at the Apollo for a lot of years.
Oh, okay.
And he used to bring over to my house all these records, these 45s of classical music. There was a lot of instrumentals. They had a label called London Records, and I used to play them, and I fell in love with strings and all of those type of instruments. And my dad, when I was young, he was a keyboard player, and he was always on the keyboards all the time. So to zip past all of that, I started getting into percussion instruments like congas, and because I had that in my spirit, that from my father's side, they were Cuban family, and so all of that rhythm from that Latin feel and jazz started building up in me because my dad was a jazz pianist, and a lot of people used to come over the house. I was young, I was a kid, so music just took a hold, seemed like, and then my step grandfather, he was played with a group called El Gran Combo, a Latin band years back. So music just was always in the house,
I hear you.
Well, yeah. With the Latin bands, who were some of your favorite artists that you used to listen to?
Oh, Mongo Santa Maria, Cal Jada, Eddie Palmieri, Pacheco, all of them. Joe Bataan and I became friends. He was up in the Bronx. I didn't know he was living close by where I was living, but we ran into each other. And I used to go to all those dances, Manhattan Center.
Manhattan Center, yeah.
And all those Latin dances. So I knew how to salsa, so I danced all the time. And I got pretty good at it as a young man, teenager. But this music's always been in me. I just can't help it. No matter what work I did, because I used to work too. I had jobs, I had to pay for things and for living. And so I was looking at this thing. My battery's getting ready to run out. I have to put something on it now. We've been on this phone.
Okay. Well, before your battery goes, so that sound like you was in West Tremont or South Bronx, around that way somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I was all up in the Bronx. Yeah. I grew up, mostly when I grew up from the age of 10, I actually moved to the Bronx. We moved to the Bronx from Harlem, but I always went back that way because that was like where I was first went to school and everything. Yeah.
He did like I did. He was in New York.
I was about to say, I hear that happens a lot. I was about to say, I hear that happens a lot. I only asked that because I used to live in West Tremont myself. So I definitely got that understanding of that Latin culture, the Latin music, and I'm a little younger, so mine, I had more of the Tito Puente sound and those groups and those acts around then, and really not understanding how influential he was to the music game at that time. And so yeah, it was just beautiful being living in that part of town, and just seeing how, first of all, how in that area all the cultures came together, but then it's, still seeing folks had their favorites, because it's on the back end of Tito Puente in the early part of Selena. So just watching those different genres cross paths in the different generations. So
Well, we heard that music all day.
yeah, yeah, and that that was
Yeah.
and that was what I learned when I moved there. So being in a situation like that, and I guess anybody here can answer that. How well, see, it's hard to ask two of you fellas, because I know two of you fellas are Latin.
Yeah.
Latin. But so let me ask from this perspective: how does it feel that, with that culture being in your family and in your bloodline, to see how it was accepted here by other musicians and other cultures, to accept that rhythmic music, that Latin music, that just was innate to your culture, of course, but you're living here in America and it got fed in.
Can I comment on that? By not being Latin, can I comment on that? A lot of what we consider Latin, Cuban, is African.
Yeah, I
Right.
consider myself Afro-Cuban because my mother's side,
rhythms,
yeah,
the
my mother
rhythms,
was born,
the
yeah,
rhythms.
I'm both of them. So
Right.
I'm happy
And I,
because I
and I,
understand
and
all the
I,
culture.
and I'm glad, and I'm really glad that Casey said that, because we always try to give those lessons in our conversation, um, about inside the music, because that's what we talk about. Besides the truth about the truth, because we're gonna get to that a little later. But we always try to talk about the history and the psychology and the science and the spirit behind music. So if we know that, all those things, that everything came from Africa. So we just
Oh yeah,
know that. But
yeah.
again, just in that lane right now, because we weren't born in Africa, but we're closer to our Latin culture, by you gentlemen, than our African culture to some degree. So again, just how did that feel growing up, or get into that roundabout way of doing business? But you heard this music, and then it drove you to want to do bigger, because from what I'm hearing from you, sir, it gave you the words that you couldn't find to talk to the ladies that your man was ghostwriting for you, but then you found your own language.
Oh yeah. Well, no, my mother was born in Georgia. My dad was born in Tampa, Florida, but
Hmm.
Cuban side was in Tampa, and the and the
Got you.
Afro side was in Georgia. So I'm like both of
Hmm.
them, of course. And
Got you.
so, but I'm always, what I was saying about the music thing was, there was times, when you with me, when I wasn't feeling kind of up, when I was growing up, I'd be a little sad. I put on some of that Latin music, man, and my whole spirit would come alive, because there's so much feeling in them. So it took me into a zone of learning how to play congas and timbales, just playing drums it's a release.
Hmm.
So we all have to find an avenue to release to, because music is the only thing that can it comes from the heart, and it can heal a heart. So that's about the best language of all, music, no matter what genre it is. Because like I said, I had fell in love with strings and stuff when I was 10 years old, the whole orchestra sounds. And so I apply that a lot to a lot of my music. I put it in songs. I have the players. One day I did a career day for one of my artists was a school teacher, and I recorded an album on her because she was just great at the time. She had like a five octave, 4 or 5 octave voice. And so her kids, they were music kids, and they knew how to do strings. So when I took them in the studio with their parents to record
Yeah.
them so they could play their instruments and learn how to record in a studio. But they put some sounds on the violins and the cellos, and,
Yeah.
and they put some sound onto the music. And I loved it. And they loved it. And they were happy. that's what we have to do, give back. So I always look at music as giving back. I don't never want to take anything from it. You know, I mean, it's nice to get paid, you know, to pay your bills and to live, but, you know, it's for the love I do what I do.
You know, one of the things him and I talked about was like when I was talking about Spanish Harlem, we talked about a particular record company, which was a company called Fantasy Records.
Yeah.
Fantasy Records had Cal Jada. Cal Jada was known for using and producing Latin music.
Yeah.
One of the people that worked specifically with Cal was Mongo Santa Maria. Mongo happened to be a very good friend of Uncle Willie Bobo. Okay. You saw one, you saw the other. We grew up on this music. We heard it when we went to sleep. We heard it when we woke up. Being as a kid in Spanish Harlem, they had concerts in Central Park down by 110th Street all summer long. And the thing that was funny was we had these records. I still got them. They're see-through, red, transparent
I haven't
records.
seen any of those in years.
I still got a stack of them because they're all Cal Jada records. And they all got Willie Bobo. And that was the thing. We grew up on that music. They had their Leggett All-Stars with the Palmieri brothers and Pacheco and all of those guys. And that's what we heard. I mean, we went to, like I said, we woke up on it. We went to sleep on it. We graduated to other music because it was incorporated by other jazz musicians and stuff.
Yeah.
So being that it was taken and produced with other jazz musicians, it was easy for us to go along with other music. Like he said, he did violins. One of the things I loved was violins. And I got that from my father, who had albums from places like Australia. He had, he had these symphonic records by all these different, and that was the major instrument in those records was the violins.
Yeah,
that's what made me like him, kind of pursue that avenue with those instruments.
Yeah.
So, if I may, and Mr. Coffey, because you said a very important thing about you took some children into the studio and showed them the ins and outs of being in the studio and recording. I was kind of like one of those children that was surrounded by those things and those opportunities. Moving forward to kind of today, from what you were teaching those children, and just from your purview, and it may look different than what I'm seeing, but how do you feel with the advent of music kind of being a privilege for some and not accessible to others, especially in our public school system, with so many things that are going on out here in the world, in our culture and society? Would you believe that the access to music and arts programs on a regular basic level would be a little more beneficial to a lot of our children out here? Because sometimes again, I get it. We grew up on reading, writing, arithmetic, and they didn't tell you it was an A in the front, but we also had music and art and things like that. How do you feel with that kind of like almost like the limiting of access to music?
Well, I've heard of a lot of things that are going on in the schools right now. Like, I'm also right now affiliated with a nonprofit in Philadelphia called Simply Music, and what we do is we teach kids how to play certain instruments. It's a nonprofit, and Simply Music is run by Miss Doris Hall James, and what we do is have classes of teaching young people's instruments. Now, when the pandemic hit, we had to do a lot of stuff online, and but we still got it done. And now it's back in force, where the kids are still going to the classes that we have for them. We have teachers that teach them who plays those instruments. And that's just one thing that we got going on. When I was, right now, I think there should be more schools that really do a lot of music programs. I don't know how many is doing it, but they should start early where they could adapt. Because I'm talking about these kids were like in the sixth, fifth and the sixth grade. You know that I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
They were younger, but they knew how to play these instruments. You know, they had schools. They teach them schools that had it, but schools like that are not everywhere. That's the problem. You know.
Yeah. Well, you know,
Don and I was talking about the schools or trade schools that they have in New York. You know, those high schools. They don't have many here like that. They have some, but there's not many at all. I had the opportunity of when I did do work. I worked for Boys and Girls Clubs from the time I was in college, off and on for 10 years, and I started programs, music programs, in the Boys Club. And so if we could find avenues for them to place these things that happen and people would take advantage of them and start doing those things, maybe we would get more kids interested. But what I'm finding out by watching certain programs on PBS channels, I look at that a lot. They have different type shows, POV, and a few other shows where they show you things that's really happening around the world, United States, all over. Is to the kids are learning things, but then they're learning other things, and they don't have many of these schools around, and I think they need them.
well, see, one of the things is that I've been teaching kids, working with kids constantly since the 70s. But one of the things that TC was saying is the value of a musical education. What a lot of individuals don't realize, one thing that you said earlier was music is a universal language.
Yeah.
Music is not only a universal language. When you there's a difference between, once you learn how to read music, a lot of people don't realize that when you start learning how to read music, first thing you have to do is you have to learn how to visually decipher the placements of these little black dots.
Oh, notes.
Yeah. Right. These little black dots on these lines, you have to learn how to decipher these notes, these dots. Okay. At the same time as deciphering these notes, you have to bring them back out through muscle memory, and then add passion to what you're doing.
Right.
What individuals don't realize is once you start doing that, you are using your entire brain. Part of your brain is used for analytical things, math, deciphering. The other side of your brain is used for artistic things, playing games, being beautiful. And when you put them together, once you start doing that, students become more comprehensive in class because their brain fires differently.
Yeah.
Okay. And those are some of the things that need to be more emphasized when talking about musical education and the value of musical education. Not only all the different avenues that you can make money, people don't realize all day while they watch TV, there's money being made. There's jingles, commercials, breaks, music backgrounds for the movies, video game music. There's music everywhere, you know, and we do not show these things from that perspective to our schools and our parents. They don't see the value of music other than hanging out on the corner. You know,
you made a great point, because, you know, even though, you know, I used to play by ear at one time, and then I found out, I said, well, and I was younger then too, and I said, well, so when I got to LA, California, I went to the college. I went to LACC Community College and took music up. I had all that notation I had to learn, and you know how to do charts and keyboards and you know harmonies, and I even took a voice class. So when when I'm working with certain artists, you know, these are things that we have to do, not just for ourselves, but when we do these things, it's preparing to give back to younger people to help them. So by me learning voice, every artist that I've worked with that were young and whatever, who, you know, even the ones that are kind of seasonal, you know, I knew some techniques to teach them.
Yeah.
So I would show them these techniques, how to use your diaphragm, so on and so forth, instead of your throat. But these were things that God pushed me to learn. You know, he said, learn this. And then I was like, yeah, I might need it. Let me go do it. And after I did, I realized why I was pushed to do it. And that's with everything in life. When we do things in life, that it's not for us, it's for somebody else. So when we learn,
you know, those things are important. And I'll tell you something else. You're asking about kids in school. The bottom line is, and I got that information from a lot of principals in schools that I know. And they specifically told me the reason music programs were cut out was so that the person that was a principal of a school would get a higher input into his salary because he saved the school money. And he saved the school money by getting rid of the music program because you no longer needed a music teacher. You no longer needed instruments, and all of that saved the school money. The problem with that is when we had that, and going back to me, like I'm 77. I'll be 78 this year. And the bottom line was when I went to school, we had a program in school called the GO, General Organization. We could get tickets, and you know that. We could get tickets to the Philharmonic.
Yeah, always. They always took busloads of kids.
$2.
Yeah,
$2.
I did that with Boys Club.
We could go to plays for the same amount of money. They no longer have a teaching element in school for arts. And that's where we've lost a lot of kids because you no longer have the voice training of choirs in school. You no longer have the element where these kids learn instruments. And if you remember, you had a lot of girls that went to those things that wanted to be part of the leadership as far as the choir and stuff like that. Guys took up instruments because that's where the girls were.
Yeah, I understand. And on that,
I'm laughing. You know why I'm laughing?
Hold on, we're gonna take a little. We're gonna hold that laugh for a minute there, Mr. Coffey. Okay. We're gonna bring that right back. Right now, we're gonna take a little break. Give everybody time to get a little something to sip on. Start this new year thing right off. Some folks still got a pinky in the air. Me, I'm just turning up the bottom with a cup. But we'll be right back after these messages right here as you return to Inside the Music, the truth about the truth, right here with our special guest, HARFEZ Coffey Young, right here on MovemRadio.com.
All right.
Yeah. What's up? C-Knife in the Dove Shack.
What's happening? This Spice One, Boston, and Fatty Chico, Shiznilty.
Hey, y'all pull up February 18th. We got legendary Spice One in the building.
You know, me and C-Night about to do this mansion party, man, February 18th.
Like Spice said, February 18th.
The
mansion party.
The mansion party. We gonna ski.
Shout out to Movem Radio. We moving.
You know what I'm saying? Movem Radio.
Shout out to Movem Radio. We moving. Shit. Finna get it in, man. Get y'all tickets, man.
We need you motherfuckers to be there.
You don't wanna miss this one for sure. West.
My side and my 7-9 no ride. So Pete, won't you twist up some shit?
Good, man. It's your boy Chevy. We're Moving Radio, man.
What's good with you? This your boy K9, the great Moving Radio. Right now,
I'm in open mic night. It's your brother G Smooth. Now,
need you to tune in this episode of Inside the Music.
Music.
welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, family, friends, haters, and congratulators. You are back with us right here on Inside the Music, the truth about the truth, and our third season. Yeah, season number 3. We're premiering the first episode of season 3 with none other than HARFEZ Coffey Young. When we took our break, we were talking about music and basically how the voice of our young generation was taken away for financial reasons in the public school system, dealing with music education in school, and how music can bring brain power and talent and your voice and behavior, how music can be used for all those things. And basically, if they can make more money for a certain person in charge, get rid of the music, get rid of the instruments. But we got these terrible football teams with not enough players, can't stay eligible, but we lose our music program, but we got these football and other athletic programs where we can't barely keep students focused.
Music programs don't go on TV.
Musical programs don't go on TV. Unless you're the HBCU down south, Jack, because they on there getting it. But just for in that caveat and in that moment, Mr. Coffey, let's talk about the money, brother. Wherever you want to go with it, let's go. Right here on Inside the Music, Truth About the Truth. That's the other side of what we talk about. A lot of folks only see the glitz and glam and the gleam of the music business, and you have to be extremely fortunate to be able to talk about those stories a lot of times. But there are a lot of success that people don't get to hear about. Which of these would you like to talk about first, so we could talk about what you had to go through, seeing some of your money, maybe having to chase some of your money, or maybe not even getting some of your money in this process of this business?
Oh,
He's
don't
trying
get me
to start some
started.
shit. He's trying to start shit.
Hey, listen,
Don't get me started now. Ooh.
it's 2023. It's
I
2023.
mean, I could tell
And
you.
if you've been
I could
if
tell
you've
you
been
that
hanging with us
times
this long,
no, I could tell you times now when I didn't know any better in some parts of it at the beginning. Send music out, to people, and then I'd hear certain music notes, because see, when you learn notes and you learn notations and everything, you kind of can hear your stuff. You can hear the notes that somebody else is playing them, and it's only 9 notes anyway, so and then you got chords and so on and so forth. So it's kind of been shuffled around. But on a serious tip, yeah, it was times when some of my music was used somewhere else by somebody else, and I never got credit for it. There was times when I did the music and never got credit for it, working with certain people.
You didn't get paid for it either, did you?
No.
No. Like he had it.
No.
You didn't get credit for it. You didn't get paid for it.
No, I didn't. And it's a lot of times I don't get paid what I should get. There's times that people know that I love it so much that, oh yeah, that was in the beginning. Now I'm a different guy. I mean, I get what I'm supposed to get. I make sure of that. But in the beginning, we all go through those phases where once the opportunity comes, you'll say, okay,
get it on the back end.
Yeah, I'll get it later. Or I did the music with people and left it with them because they had more clout than I had. So I said, well, I'm gonna work on this project, so y'all take care of it. I did my part, and the music went out on the artist, and a lot of people would know who they are, the artists. I mean, but it's all right because I got a lot of music in me,
and you're thrilled to be included into it.
Yeah, and people do know who I am. And they've heard my music, and people that were around me then. But okay. I've always, most of the time, I'd say 90% of the time, all of the music that I produced and put out there came from my money. I didn't have nobody helping me with that,
I did that too.
Yeah. I spend my money to record you. You're a new artist, I'll help you out. You could move on. But I mean, we did contracts, so it's certain things that when they did get whatever they got, I got some back. Or I would, say, okay, it was an artist, a group. I'll tell you who they were, this artist group. I started working with them back in LA. South Central Cartel, a nice group, you know. But I didn't want to manage them. They wanted me to manage them. I heard them at Carlos and Charlie's at this club one night. So my partner at the time, an associate, an engineer, Chris Johnson, I told him, I said, well, I don't want to manage them anymore. You take over. So I gave them to them. And he helped get them signed. I was running them around the Priority Records and all these little companies in LA. And then I just got tired of doing that. But they went on to do good things. But their music changed because they were on a different music track at that time. When I first heard them, they were doing some nice music. They had a guy singing in the background. They're a hip hop group, okay, out of Compton, California.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, great guys. I really liked them all. So later on down the road, make a long story short, but they joined up later on. They changed the music when they went with Def Jam, but before that, they was with a smaller label. They finally got signed, but they were doing gangster music then, and I really was like, dang, why y'all go in that direction, But when they used to put songs on the charts of Jet magazine, I saw where one of the songs they put out, "In Gats We Trust."
Yes, sir. Yep.
I said, "Oh no!" I mean, I even got pictures that when they first came. I got pictures of them when they gave me their little package. When they hadn't made it yet. In their bio and everything. I still got that in a folder in my file cabinet because I always liked the guys. They were good. And I think after a while, and then Chris took some of the music me and him were doing, and he gave it to them, the music tracks, and they wrote rap lyrics to it. Well, I didn't get no money for that, but at least they got what they needed to do. So, the way I look at it is, in due time, all of those little things that happen,
they come back around.
They come back around because there was another project I worked on at Warner Brothers with Kenyatta and Quincy Jones' son, QD3. And when all the records were done, everything was done, I signed his contract. So they asked me how much I wanted. And I just said an amount because I said, well, I'm going to get writing credits anyway. So I ain't worried about that part. But then I thought about it and I talked it over with somebody. I said, man, you should have got some more. So I went back to the lawyer and I said, man, I need some more money. Well, this guy just flipped out and he bust and he said, you can't get no more. We gave you all we giving you. I paid $80,000 for this project and yada yada. And I was like, okay. So I let that go. Things like that, we have to let it go.
Yeah. Either that, or somebody got to bail you out.
Yeah,
somebody got to bail you out.
Yeah.
Or you got to learn to get it on another end of that project, like on the back end of it.
Yeah.
A lot of times
another thing that changed the title of the song. They changed the title of the song.
Yeah, a lot of times the back end never show up.
Yeah, and the back end never showed up because the title changed, and they had to just
all they gotta do is add the letter A in there.
Yeah, well, they had
that's all they gotta do. It's from my love to oh my love. Oh my.
Yeah. Well, the song was called I Need. But I put it lately I need. And they had it I Need.
Yeah.
And my name on the credit was HARFEZ Coffey, not HARFEZ Coffey Young, not HARFEZ Young. So
I've been there.
So and the record sold. The whole album, it was called a thing. It was called QD Sound Labs. That was the name of the album. But I had fun, a lot of these opportunities that we get, I look at it as an opportunity. Yeah, if I get paid, that's the greatest thing because I got other skills, I love working with young people. I know food industry, I do all of that. So I'm still doing stuff like that.
Yo, check this out, man.
Yeah.
Out of all the groups you worked with, I see a picture, if I'm not mistaken, I recognize that one picture back there, that one picture in the red outfits. That's a Delphonics.
Delphonics. Yeah, Delphonics. Yeah. I started working with them. yeah, I started working with them, and well, what had happened was I didn't meet Pookie first, but I knew of him because I used to go to Apollo a lot. Pookie used to always,
Yeah.
he was the lead singer, okay, and but the main guy, Freddie Ingleton, I met him in New York. He was one of the singers. He's on the right of the picture, and one day we met, and he was telling me, he said, he's with the Delphonics. I thought, yeah. So he started singing the songs, and he sounded just like the record. I was like, dang, man. So he was part of the group, and I started liking, what he did. So I started working with the group from that point on. We did it back in New York. We used to promote a lot of the shows. I did that with a few guys, all the old school shows, we called them. With the Delphonics and the Persuaders and
the Moments,
Al Melvin and the Blue Note.
Blue
Yeah, I
Magic.
mean, we did all that. Yeah, I got into that trip for a minute. It was good. It was good money, good venues. I met a lot of musicians and people. It was just wide open back then, and it wasn't that long ago. So, and then I started promoting shows with them. So that was one of the pictures I got from Freddie to promote the group with. And along on that show, we did a show, and on the show were the Persuaders. And then I had a few other people. We did it at a university. That was a venue I liked because I think colleges are good venues.
Yeah, they are.
For the schools, that's one of the better venues. That place, the school I used in New York was, I think it was 1,500 people, something like that. It was that big, I mean, it was big enough to,
What school? FIT?
No, this was at York College.
York College.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good circuit to get on, man. I remember
I tell people, I mean,
man,
I'm down here now. Yeah.
you get on that college circuit, you can work constantly, regularly.
Always. Yeah.
Everywhere from lounges up to little coliseums almost,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
college got that money.
Yeah. Well, the thing of that is the young people need to be involved. So they're the ones that you gotta, kind of please because they'll spend the money to go. If you look at some people in all the big old venues and like let's say Yankee Stadium or some any stadium or get stadium.
Radio City Music Hall.
Yeah, places like that. I mean, those are good venues. But the sponsorship is where a lot of people run into an issue. And it was sponsors that I used to use like Budweiser years ago. I don't know what they're doing now with people. And some of these venues, you need that sponsorship. So yeah. I got into promoting too. I mean.
Yeah, that's what I was ready to say. Sound like you spun your hat around a couple times.
Yeah, but one thing I did was when I was wearing one hat, I didn't try to wear two or three because it confuses people.
Yeah.
It's like when I had the magazine, I was a part owner of a magazine called On the Scene back in the 70s. And I had been to every record label, and all we were doing, breaking in new artists that all the labels had. So I was in meetings with everybody from Capitol Records to, and I left A&M Records because I was working for them. To do this, I got recruited. Hey, you want to work with us? We need you to, become a partner. You ain't got to put no money in it. You just do the work, and that's what I did. So I met everybody.
Yeah.
Through that magazine. Back then, it was disco times. It was everything going on musically. And it was a great opportunity. I was never an overzealous kind of an opportunist. I wasn't that kind of guy because that wasn't in my character. I was more like, hey, it came up and I had a lot of opportunities for everything. I could have been, I don't know what I could have been if I took advantage of them all. But
I kind of was going to go there, Mr. Coffey. That's what I wanted to ask you. You ran through a plethora of experiences from learning the right songs to playing the percussion instrument to getting into the business side up to promoting and filling up 1,000-seat, 1,500-seat arenas. What was it that drove you to get into doing those different things, and what was giving you the most satisfaction to continue doing those things?
The people around me, whoever I was around, who needed to be there. See, because I didn't do it for me. I do what I do for others. I mean, if I'm writing songs, that's for them to sing and make them feel great. or get great or whatever. If I'm promoting them, you know, that's for them to be out there. And I just get the satisfaction of seeing it happen because it's part of my purpose. You know, KC and I had a conversation a little earlier about that. And young people will say, well, you know, I tell them, you know your purpose? And they'll say, no, I think I do. And I say, well, whatever your passion is, whatever's in your heart, that's your purpose. God put it there. And you take that and work with that. And I remember being a young kid, I used to hear the older folks, you know, sitting around and they would say, yeah, I was on this job for like 40 years and all that. And the first thing I thought as a kid, I said, I don't never want to be that guy. You know, like 40 years in the same place. Come on. Life is
how long you been playing music?
Going on.
How long you been playing music?
Since I was 5.
You knocked that 40 out the park.
Yeah, it was just in me, man. All the people around me, you know. I mean, when I was a kid, my mom told me all the people when I grew up. She told me all these people used to come around your dad was playing, you know. And she would tell me who they were, you know, the Bobby Shorts and the Price Sox and even Sammy Davis Jr. and all these people in Harlem. Yeah, you know, why don't you go try to find them? She used to say, and I never did. I'm sorry I didn't, especially a couple of people, because she was telling me Bobby Short and my dad was pretty tight, you know, because they both played piano and used to come by the house when I was a kid. But my dad died when I was small. That's why I never got to know him. And but I do remember things being around. He played the piano all the time and tell me to dance. And, you know, I remember some of that, you know, but yeah, but I didn't know who the people were until I got older. My mom told me who all they were coming to the house. I just know a lot of people was always in my house, you know, musicians.
And what was the first recording you did?
I believe it was a song She's Gone. I think that was the first one I did. Yeah. I was 17 then, and I did that.
Well, since we're there, is there anything that you got that we could play for the folks before we go into this break?
Well, I think you got it.
What we got, so I can go into the archives and find out there, King Down. What we got?
You could play like Art Madison's "Take My Love." You got that over there?
I got to go ahead and check in the archives, but usually we got about 100% success rate on finding what we need in the archives right here. So give me that one more time so I can turn around, hit a few buttons, see if we can bring that up. What's the name of the song again?
Well, you could Art Madison's "Take My Love."
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it right here first on Inside the Music, the truth about the truth. Art Madison's "Take My Love," and that was presented by Mr. HARFEZ Coffey Young, right here on Inside the Music, the truth about the truth. We'll see you on the other side of this breaking this song.
Of a quiet storm on the ocean in the still of the night. quiet storm of the ocean, in the still of the night. 'Cause tonight I'm yours. Take my love, just take all of me. Take my love, take all you see. You can have every part of me. Just take my love, take all of me. Just say those words that makes the sound, like the quiet storm of the ocean, in the still of the night. 'Cause tonight I'm yours. Ooh, take my love, just take all of me. Just take my love, take all you see. You can have every part of me. Just take my love, take all of me. Just take my love, all my love, yours for the taking. All my love, oh baby, all my love, take all of me. All my love,
All right. All right. When I say we got dope music right here on MovemRadio.com and Movem Radio TV, we had dope music. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Mr. Coffey. Again, like I just said, we are here with our guest, Mr. HARFEZ Coffey Young, right here on Inside the Music, the truth about the truth. And starting off the year once again with some dope music. So this is gonna be our final segment of the show. Again, third season, first episode, 3 seasons. Have y'all been sticking around that long? Because the King's been here. The Kings have been here, and we're just glad to have y'all with us for this ride. But we're here again. We're here with Mr. HARFEZ Coffey Young. This man has a plethora of gifts that he's been dropping and jewels and information he's been dropping. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm a student sitting back watching these three kings talk about their experiences and watching each other do this business that they're doing. KC, what you got for the last segment for the king, man? Because I know y'all, it's just like sitting back watching my OGs just getting it in.
Oh, man, like you say, it's been a good conversation, Yo, Coffey. So, what's the biggest act, the most problems that you worked with? Because we're gonna segue into that, and I got some other questions too. But what's one of the biggest acts you worked with?
Well, Marvin Gaye was one of them.
Oh yeah, we talked with my partner Bugsy.
Yeah.
Bugsy was talking. Bugsy Wilcox. Yeah.
Yeah, my boy Bugsy. Yeah.
Hell of a drummer. My goodness.
Oh yeah, he was bad, man. He was.
Bugsy still bad.
I know he's still bad, but back then with Marvin, man, you should have seen his arms flying out. Now I mean, he'd be babbing them drums, man. He's a bad dude. Yeah.
We've been working on a little remake, Inner City Blues. I've been doing this thing, and
all right.
I got Bugsy to jump on drums with me. It's straight sickness, man. Bugsy, great cat, man. Yeah. Yeah.
Now here's the thing: when y'all were hanging out with Marvin, did Marvin play drums while he was fooling around with you guys?
Yeah, he would play a lot of things around there. like in his studio.
Because he started out as a drummer. People don't realize that. They
play
think he
around
was
with
a
him on
singer.
the studio because him and Gypsy used to play. Gypsy was a percussionist, and then I would get on the percussions, and he would say things like, "I like how you doing it, Coffey," and I'd say, "Yeah, but Gypsy's better. Take him on the road. I didn't want to go on the road." That road life is something, man.
Man, that was the only life, man.
I know, but I've been on it, but I really enjoyed being behind the scenes more, you know. So I got more in sync with that, managing artists and, taking people in the studio and, dealing with that more so than, like
Man,
going on the road.
I
Some
felt
hotels and all that, man. What?
I felt if I was in town long enough for somebody to know what I drank, I was there too long.
Yeah, you were in. If they knew, as soon as they saw you walk in, they said, "Give him a Heineken or something."
Yeah, when they know your drink is time to move on, baby. You've been there too long.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you would have been there long. That's right. Yeah, but it's good that they knew you.
Yeah. I come back another time.
Yeah.
So what you doing now, man?
It's a lot of fun, huh?
What you doing now?
I'm in the studio a lot. We're preparing for this whole next year coming. I'm working with a few artists that Marley Marl is one of them. He's a hip hop artist, and I really love what he's doing along with LA. And Marley and I have been together since 2015, but we actually been doing music and having meetings and making sure everything is right in his life. So we got new stuff out now, and we got old stuff out, but we're working on some new things. It's gonna really shock people because we got some. I mean, this kid is brilliant. I mean, he's a good businessman. He's only 20 something. I'd say 20 something. I'll let him tell the rest. But he, so musically inclined. I call him my musical son because he's so into it. And he reminds me of me, Marley Marl.
Okay.
Marley Marl. Yeah. I thought you had gotten a song we had done. I thought I sent Don like 3 or 4 things, but he said I sent 2. I guess I don't know if the other 2 went through. I'm not sure. But anyway, yeah. So he's real smart, and he's really dedicated to this life. He'll spend his money on his life to do his music. He's not waiting on nobody to do it, but we just do what we do. He reminds me of me when I was his age. Marley Marl. He also have his name Major League Marl.
Okay.
And he started his own little label, Major League Stash. And it's we're just trying to find sincere and dedicated artists like we are to sign to his label. I'm working with Al Davis. I'm in the studio with him. We just finished one album. We did some other songs for the next album. We got to finish that up. Art Madison, we doing some things. He's out in LA, but we converse back and forth with music. And it's a few other projects that I'm considering. So I'm just trying to stay busy with it because no matter what work I did in life, it will always involve music. Because like I said, programs, I started music programs in boys clubs when I did that. When I was working in the food industry, which I did, I had a certain position, so I was able to do music and go in studios and record and do all that. And I've worked with a lot of people through the years. So many, some of them lasted, some of them were already established artists, and I played in the studio tracks. I like doing that a lot too. I played on a few performances in the studio when I'm producing it. Or if somebody else is producing and they ask me to do it, I'll do it. And yeah. So
was there ever a time during your tenure with all the success that you've had, was there ever a time that you kind of just felt like, you know what, I'm gonna sit this down. I'm good right now. I just want to take a rest and step back.
Yeah, when I'm laid out in the coffin, because I ain't never gonna stop.
Yeah,
I don't care how long.
it ain't no quit.
I'm doing this for the love, man.
It ain't no
This
quit.
is my love. This is my
quit.
passion. Yeah, this is my passion. I had to pick up the mantle for all my fellows, my family that passed on who was doing it, and the ones that tried to do it and didn't make it. So I'm taking it up for them. No, I ain't never gonna do that, man.
Yeah, a lot of cats don't realize, man. For some of us, it's just like it's DNA.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
I mean,
it's
I've been in studios 12 hours, 14 hours. I've been, for 3 hours. It depends on what the deals are or what I'm doing. And yeah, I remember when I did that Quincy project thing, we were in the studio like till 4 or 5 in the morning. And then Ice Cube came in and we sat down and he said, "Oh, that's pretty nice, y'all." And then shoot, I had fell asleep by that time, but I was still there listening to it. I nodded off.
I did two live crew in Bone Thug Harmony at the same time.
Oh yeah,
out of Miami, yeah. And I was engineering. I would do a 10-hour on 2 Live would come in early.
Yeah.
And I'd do 10 hours on the back of the evening with Bone Thugs, and then go hang out in the strip club and go straight back to the studio.
Yeah.
That was it.
Man, ain't nothing like them 5 o'clock in the morning studios.
Oh yeah, it's not really, truly.
No, nobody bothered.
You go in at night and come out. No, you can go in at night and come out and it'd be like midday.
Yeah, no phone calls.
But get so much done. Well, at least during our time. It's a lot going on in the studios now, but I think during that time, like you were talking about, KC, that might have been a more focused time. But I know by the time I used to have to like shut people up or kick them out.
Oh, it was the same thing then. It was the same thing then. But like when you for production hours, the hours between 1 a.m. and 7 a.m., phones stopped ringing.
Yeah.
If the girlfriend is there, she on the couch nodded out. If she ain't there, ain't nobody worried about it.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that was the and plus that early morning session, there's not too many people that bother you either, because everybody that want to bother you was out partying late last night, so they ain't getting ready to get up.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But I'll tell you one experience that I had that I really missed, that opportunity. I didn't really miss it, but I was working on art. I was working with art that year. I was working on a film with Robert Guillaume called You Must Remember This. Really good film. History making, all that history's in it. All the actors you could think of black that was in it was there. And then I was working on I was to work on a film that Jamar Panaka was doing, and he commissioned me and a gentleman called Michael Dunlap to do the music project. So I got a chance to go to the studio and just look at the screen of the movie, and we was writing the music. So I started doing it, but then everything else I was working on, I had to leave it. So the music that I left there, I had expected it to be put on the film credit, because we had got paid a little bit. I did for what I did, and I went on, and Michael finished the film. But that was an opportunity that I got to do, and I said, "Wow, this is fantastic! That you can, write music to a film."
Yeah, scoring is completely
different. The name of the film was Street Wars. That was the name of the film. Jamar Panaka, who had done all those penitentiary movies, that was his movies that he decided to do it. I found out not kind of recent that he had passed. I didn't know that, but I hadn't seen him since the film thing. But I worked on 3 other things, and all in the same year. And that was one that I don't know if I should have stayed there, because actually when the movie came out and I saw the movie and I didn't see my name on the credits, but I saw Michael's name as the music director, which that's what he was hired to do. He kind of hired me to help him, but we had written a lot of songs together for that. So, You know, that was just something I wish I had done, not just for the credit, but it was just, you know, went through the whole process. And that's something that I think all people should try. If you're doing the music, try to do that. Because nowadays I'm watching I watched a show just the other night on Hans Zimmer. I was like, yeah, I know him. You know, I know his name on a lot of movies. And he's done a lot of movies, 100 and some movies or something like that. Man, it's quite an experience. Yeah.
And this is where we come to the portion of the show where we ask you, just kind of like where you were going. We asked you, this is our reflection time. We asked if there was anything that you would tell your younger self, knowing what you know now, if there's anything that you would tell your younger self to do better, do different, pull back on, go harder at, go stronger at, what would it be?
I think some of the opportunities that presented itself that I didn't take advantage of or didn't involve myself in, I kind of regret it, because the people that came to me, I could say their names, but I won't, because it's a few things that came up in life that I could have helped them on. I can tell you one person. When I was at A&M, Leon Ware was there, and he was working in the publishing area, you know, and he came out of there one day and we ran into each other, and he said, man, I'm in there all night, man, Coffey. And he said, man, I can't finish this song. And that was something for me to say, hey, I could come finish it with you, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't do it, and I don't know why. So I kind of regret that little meeting. And this is honest God's truth. And things like that would happen that I wouldn't, or like if when I was with the magazine, a lot of people, I could have said, hey, I got a song. But I went in there as a magazine person, you know, trying to get their artists in our magazine. So those opportunities that used to come like that, I couldn't do them because I didn't want to wear 2 hats, 3 hats, you know, because people get confused. You know, I thought you was doing this, you know, I'm a thinker. So I was young then, but I thought, hey, if I start telling them I do music, because even one of my family members said, well, how come you didn't tell me you write songs, you know? Hey, I went in there for this purpose, and that's what I stuck with. It's like being loyal and dedicated. I've always been that kind of a person, you know? So,
all right, and let the folks know how they can follow you, find you, do some research on you, listen to some of your music, so that the people here that follow us here on Inside the Music can get a better glimpse into Mr. Coffey.
Well, my Facebook page and the people that I mostly have in there, you know, I got friends that love music and in there, and I got family members, and I got mostly people that are in the business, you know. Some of the people that pop up and want a friend request, and, you know, they ain't doing what I'm doing or trying to do like, I don't know who they are, you know, Bitcoin people and all them. I'm not into that. So I don't do that. But, and I'm not trying to sound a certain way about a life, but I'm in the sunset of my life. You know, I'm not
on Instagram?
No, I'm not on Instagram. I'm on
Facebook.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook. HARFEZ Young, I'm on Facebook. I have a company that I started Coffey Productions back in 1976. And since then I've changed it to Coffey Entertainment Group. But I have a card here, you can see it.
Okay.
That's what my business card look like, and that's what my when you go up, that's my brand logo. Can y'all see that?
Yeah. Coffey Entertainment Group.
Yeah. And yeah. But you could you can find me at hcy.music, MUZIC, at yahoo.com. That's where I get my correspondence. Or you can get me at hcymusic at gmail.com. Same thing.
Sounds good. Sounds good. We appreciate
that's
that,
where
sir.
You get
so
Facebook. Yeah.
So it's time to take it around the horn. Which king? Let me see. Let me go ahead and get Don out the King Don out the way. Don usually lean back and gives us his good, wise, sage wisdom after KC. But I think I want to hear from King Don first this time.
Okay, what I would say in closing is very simple. People need to pay attention to the things that they need to learn. And the bottom line is, like I say all the time, a lot of times younger artists want to ask a question, but they feel that if they ask a particular question, it's going to be looked at or deemed as being a stupid question. And like I tell people, there are no stupid questions. The only stupid questions are the ones you don't ask. You're asking because you want to learn, and there's information that you don't have access to that you're trying to get. So the bottom line is, ask the question. If a person does not want to give you the answer to that question, hopefully it's one of two things. It's basically because they don't have the answer and don't know it. There are other people that know it and don't give it to you because they don't want you to have that information because it does not suit their purpose. So the bottom line is, ask the questions. And there are a group of people you see on this show that includes me, that includes KC, that includes TC, and that includes Mr. Coffey. You can always get a hold of us and ask that question, and you will get an answer to it. If we don't have it, here's what you'll get as an answer. We don't know, but we will find out for you. And that's my thing. And as Kenny always says, learn to take care of business. Otherwise, business will take care of you.
Yep. That sounds like
yes, sir.
Yep.
King KC.
Hey, man. I really don't have that much. Happy New Year on the knowledge thing, on the learning thing. Get it. That's it. I used to talk at a lot of schools, and I got put out of some schools because I told the students, I did. I got put out of a school doing a lecture. Because I told the students, I say, look, as long as you're in public school, they cannot stop you from going into any public library.
Right.
Go into the library, steal all the information you want. Once you read it, they can't take it back. Once you come out of high school, they're going to charge you for every book you put your hands on. The white teacher was like, wait a minute. He said that the wrong way. I'm like, y'all got to infiltrate. They didn't like it. But I told them, I'm like, as long as you're in public school, they're obligated to allow you to put your hands on every bit of information that's available. All you got to do is ask for it. Go steal it. Once you read it, they can't take it back. It's yours. Go get it. Go get it.
Listen, I'm glad it was that. I was the guy who was that kind of put out, not the other guy. But
I got put out that way too. But that was before.
And in closing, I want to say Happy New Year to my team and my family here at MovemRadio.com and Movem Radio TV. The Lord saw fit. The Lord saw fit to flip the calendar for us when it was not guaranteed.
Yeah.
People have no idea how close people have come to not seeing 2023. And here we are. Whether you're 77, 17, 27, 47, 37, God saw fit for you to make it to see the calendar flip one more time. Whatever you did with last year, do more and make it better this year. You never know when you may not see the next opportunity, when you may not see the next person that you love, when you may not see that next day at work. Because as Don said, we didn't ask questions, we didn't try to find out, we didn't look for those opportunities. As KKC just said, go get the information, go get it, go steal it, go take it, infiltrate, use it, because after a certain point in your life, it's going to cost you. And as King Coffey told us, take every chance you get so that you don't regret it. As successful as he is, he used the word regret because there were opportunities that he had there in front of him and he didn't take them because he didn't want to feel like he was getting too far out of line or going too far out of place or wearing too many hats. Understand every opportunity is an opportunity to succeed based on how you apply it. We thank you all for making this journey here with us. King Coffey, I say thank you, sir. I sat back again as a student of this music business. I applaud young Marley that you are mentoring him and guiding him because I was a young Marley in my 20s, and what was different was I didn't have a King Coffey to help guide me. So I was unruly. I was defiant. I was everything that the music business wasn't because I was a 20-something-year-old that was about my business, and that meant to my pennies. If I know there's a way for me to make my pennies, I want to make them. I'm not going to let somebody else decide how I'm going to make my pennies. The business just wasn't structured that way at that time. So I thank you for encouraging that young king to be about his business and to grow. And I encourage every young king that's watching, every young queen that's watching, every seasoned king and queen that's watching. Put your arms around those young talents. Put your arm around and put your voice into your energy into those young people that want to get into the music business or the entertainment business. Right now, I'm away from music so much that I'm doing acting, television, production, and things. But guess what I do? The same thing that you heard every man on this platform say, that they bring others in because we have a gift. And what do you do with a gift? You present it to others. It's a present. So you present it to others.
Amen.
It is much, much better to give. And then when you receive, your reception will be boundless. I want to give a shout to all of our sponsors. 176204, 206 Studio 176. I'm getting them backwards because I'm emotional. I'm so sorry. Stormy Weathers Entertainment, Source 3 Entertainment, Studio 204, 176. Shout out to Black Men in Charge. They brought me in, and thanks to King Don, they brought me in and made me a part of a wonderful, wonderful organization because that's what we are, Black Men in Charge. In every episode, you're going to see me repping. Right now, you see me repping the big yellow K on the purple for Martin Luther King High School in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, in honor of me. In honor of Martin Luther King Jr., which by the time you're watching this episode, we will have celebrated Martin Luther King Day. I hope you did your service because we've done ours. With that being said, always make sure that you do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. Holla at your big homie. He is always around. Peace, love, and everything under God.